Hello everybody and welcome back to my reading of Blank Flank Adventure. Even though the last episode I called it Adventure for the Blank, which is severely wrong. I'm sorry. Anyway, because last episode also kind of messed up a tad, I'm going to backtrack a little bit, not too much, just to get what happened before I'm continuing. Oh, no, I'm getting messages. Alright, we'll just ignore that one for now then. Dreamfeather figured out what Spike was hinting at and couldn't stop himself from voicing his realization. So, whoever abducted Rainbow Dash probably intends to sabotage the elements of harmony. Dreamfeather felt his throat tighten as his mind came to an uncomfortable conclusion. Which means they would want at least one of the ponies essential to that use dead. He immediately regretted speaking his thoughts out loud as he remembered Spike's earlier display of false confidence. However, Spike did not react at all as Dreamfeather had feared he might. Spike looked rather hopeful, almost as if Dreamfeather had just stated a positive fact. Maybe not. Yeah, Spike voice. Just a quick heads up. Being a fan of things like the Mentally Advanced series and Rainbow Dash Presents, I figured I might as well try and go for that Spike voice. Just have a go at me if I completely and utterly butcher it. Oh, and as you can see, we're using a picture of vinyl instead of Rainbow Dash, because, well, just look at it. Maybe not. Dreamfeather's confusion is apparent. If the elements can't be destroyed, then killing their current wielders would just allow somebody else to use them. The new bearer could be anywhere. If whoever is behind this wants the elements to be unusable, then they will have to keep Rainbow Dash separate from the others without killing her. Spike seemed certain about this, and Dreamfeather was not about to argue with him, even if he was worried about the next phase in the villain's plan. He doubted any pony would go through this much trouble to catch one of the elements and then have no idea what to do next. It was then that his mind suddenly recalled the earlier conversation he had, the one which sparked his curiosity about Rainbow Dash in the first place. Almost like that strange pony wanted me to come here and find out more about Rainbow Dash. But why? Had they been listening to us the whole time? But what would they gain doing so? If they are the ones behind the disappearance, then I doubt that any of this information is new to them. He was pulled out of his thoughts when he spied a glimpse of something moving up the stairs. He stared forward, his gaze focused on the staircase. Spike was very confused by his sudden movements. Dreamfeather was walking right past him, heading for the stairs that led to Twilight's room. Dreamfeather's abrupt actions and single-minded focus worried Spike, but he did his best to keep calm and find out what was happening. Dreamfeather? Are you alright? You can't just walk off like that. I'm supposed to be watching you. After all, Twilight wasn't her normal self either, but that doesn't mean that I can let you go wherever you want. The Dreamfeather seemed very focused on whatever had grabbed his attention. He only stopped once he had reached the stairs themselves. He turned towards Spike and shook his head a bit, as if trying to wake himself up. I'm sorry to have worried you, but I thought I saw something here on the staircase. Is there somebody else here, or does Twilight keep a pet, perhaps? I could swear I saw something moving. The Pegasus spoke spectacly as he glanced up the stairs again before deciding it was probably not his place to be standing to be starting a commotion like this. He had expected Spike to respond to him by now. When he turned back towards the entrance hall, he found himself rather confused by the lack of a certain young dragon. Spike? Suddenly Dreamfeather felt a sharp pain ripping through his body, followed by a more familiar pain in his head as his head hit the floor. His vision darkened as the room around him seemed to shift, growing more distant as his consciousness faded. All he knew was darkness, a void deprived of sound and light. Then his mind was pulled back into the waking world by a sharp pain. Dreamfeather felt terrible, like he had been trampled by a stampede of cows. His thoughts were clouded with exhaustion and pain. Spike! Girl, take your wings off! He heard shouting. Oh, I was meant to be shouting? Due to Spike? Oh. Girl, take your wings off! He heard shouting, but it was still too out of it to make any sense of the words. Sunpony was obviously very upset. Calm down, Sugar Cube. He isn't understanding a word of what... Oh, right. Understanding a word of what you're saying. Let him get his bearings straight before you go interrogating him. He heard another voice, and slowly came to his senses. He was awake enough now to feel the full force of pain his body was in. A loud yelp tore out of his throat. The pain was far beyond any amount he was used to experiencing. Finally, thinking somewhat clearly, he began to register his surroundings. He was still in the library, but now he was encircled by 5 ponies. They were all staring at him, and Dreamfeather was growing more nervous with each passing second. Before he could speak, he found himself pressed against the floor of the library by a magical force. The same magic lifted his head and forced him to look directly at Twilight Sparkle. He's aware enough. I want you to tell me precisely what happened to Spike while I was away. The voice raised in anger, sounding even louder in the silence of the library. The magical force holding him in place squeezed tightly as if she was trying to wring the answers from his body. The oppressor's grasp only succeeded in praying a pained whine from Dreamfeather. He decided it'd be in his best interests to speak, but his mind felt empty. He searched his memory and found a sudden cascade of images flooding in sentences. He spoke aloud, and his pacing towards his recollection. He was so desperate to answer the livid unicorn that he didn't even consider reviewing the newly recalled moments before announcing them to the assembly. I don't remember completely. There was something in here, in the library, on the stairs, then I attacked Spike. Twilight growled angrily and the magic bonds tightened further. The ensnared Pegasus felt like he was being crushed to death by a telekinetic grip. Suddenly the pressure was gone. The white unicorn was standing before him, an incredulous incredulous look on her face. He could see a bright pink earth pony holding on to Twilight. Whether the strange hug was meant to calm down or simply break her concentration, he could not say, but he was grateful nonetheless. Ah, you do realize... No, fine, I've already messed this up. You do not seem to have a good understanding of the situation you're in. Why would you admit to attacking Spike? Maybe you should take more time to think before you speak. Your careless choice of words is only making you look worse. The white-coated mare seemed to believe that he was slow, but at least she was being reasonable. Dreamfeather was so confused by his own memories he couldn't even begin to decide himself or his actions. Couldn't even begin to defend himself or his actions. If indeed he had taken any such actions, perhaps he could make them understand how little he understood if he took the unicorn's advice and chose his words more carefully. I don't know why. I did not attack him. At least, I don't have any reason to have done such a thing. My memories... Well, I can't remember attacking him, but it's all wrong. There's a shadowy figure. Please, believe me when I say I did not attack Spike of my own will. Dreamfeather's attempts at a clear explanation fell apart. His mind was besieged with grisly scenes of terrible violence, crimes he would never have committed, and yet his own memory seemed to claim otherwise. He could hardly think with such horrifying memories crowding his mind. I believe that he is, or at least was, working for this shadowy figure. He claims that he didn't attack Spike of his own will, but it sounds like he's just making excuses. Maybe his partner left him to take the blame once he had Spike. Twilight's accusations would have bothered him a lot more, but they had served to draw his thoughts away from the awful imagery. Twilight turned away from the other mares and questioned him directly. Did this shadowy figure also force you to come here and make all of these inquiries about Rainbow Dash? The pink earth pony that he had noticed before approached now. Her cheery disposition seemed to brighten up the room, even if she was the only one wearing a smile. Come on, Twilight. There's no need for this meanness. I know you're all upset and we're not going to get anything done if we're busy playing the blame game. Maybe it'd be easier for this gloomy pony to answer if he didn't feel like we was going to bite his head off. Ooh, or we could try explaining everything with a song. Dreamfeather was bewildered. He dealt with a lot of strange things today, but a pink pony? This pink pony definitely took the cake. Oh, right after the strange, hopeful fake memories. Oh, anyway. Song? What kind of pony would explain something through song? In spite of his bafflement, he found himself liking the engaging earth pony. Her bright attitude and nonsensical statement had served to break a lot of the tension he was feeling. Still, he rushed to answer Twilight's question before the strange pony could attempt to demonstrate her suggestion. Well, I did come here of my own free will, yes. But when I did, I had no idea this was all so serious. I thought Rainbow Dash had simply gotten lost or something. I didn't have a clue about how a government pony could have gone missing. I was just too curious, and Dreamfeather tried to remember why he'd been so curious, and why that curiosity had driven him to the library. He wasn't the type of pony who often sought out interaction with others. His eyes grew wide as he pieced together the chain of events that led him to the moment in time. Can't be. Whoever asked me about Rainbow Dash on the street, he or she set me up. To be here while Spike would otherwise be alone. But that means they knew Twilight would be gone. An unnecessary atmosphere filled the room. The mares warily watched the wide-eyed stallion, waiting for whatever thought had interrupted Classy vinyl scratch does not approve. Let's try this again. An uneasy atmosphere filled the room. The mares warily watched the wide-eyed stallion, waiting for whatever thought had interrupted his explanation. Wait, I thought you had a lead on Rainbow Dash's location. What happened to that? He heard an upset noise from Twilight's direction. The other ponies didn't look so pleased that this suspicious pony had stopped his own defense in order to request more information from them. The yellow Pegasus was the only one willing to answer his question, though she spoke so quietly that he almost missed it. I noticed Rainbow Dash at the edge of the Everfree Forest today, but when I call out to her, she walks away into the forest. I know there must have been something wrong. She never just leave her friends behind like that. I couldn't follow her alone, though. What if my friends thought I'd gone missing too? The Pegasus mare was hanging behind the other ponies, almost like she was trying to hide. Dreamfeather didn't need to see her face to know she was very hurt by Rainbow Dash's strange reaction. Fluttershy called us all together and we started the search for Rainbow Dash in the Everfree Forest. We had to stop after a few hours though. The Everfree Forest is just too dangerous to stay in for a long time. Finding some pony in there is nearly impossible, especially if they don't want to be found. Still, we don't know what's going on with Rainbow Dash, but we have to assume that her earlier appearance was meant as a distraction, and I'm getting messages again, sorry. Twilight finished the story for the Shy Pegasus. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna leave it here. That's a good 18, about 20 minutes. I'm not 100% sure if it's got all the audio. So, just send me a message if it doesn't. Anyway. Hey, freaking thing. Anyway, yeah. Thanks for watching. See ya.